So I'm really just testing out what rocks I have in the beginning. I'm not sure what I really want to do, but I wanted to have a rockscape where most of the rocks are on one side and then empty on the other. And well, the thing you see moving across the screen, that little dot, kind of looks like a fly. It's actually a snail that I saw in the tank. These rocks I got from my local landscaping place, as I said in one of my previous videos. And I also wanted to incorporate this large shell that I had from my other tank. I don't really have an aquascape in any of my tanks, so it's kind of my first time doing an aquascape for my 10-gallon, usually mostly rocks, because I don't really have much materials to aquascape my 180. And my reef tank really consisted of 3 rocks, which I won't consider that much of an scape. And also, scaping a reef tank is somewhat different from scaping fresh water. And my goal was to make it look more, realistic somewhat. And since I knew I was gonna have shell dwellers, I kind of wanted to wait some space for the shells, obviously, so I couldn't just fill the tank with lots of rocks. Now, as you can see, I'm adding sand into the tank, and I did wash it multiple times, but as you can see, it's still full of dust. And I was really just tired of washing it, so I decided I'll just add it and then do a water change after, because not much water for a 10-gallon to remove most of the water. You switch the heaters on this tank. I used to have a Tetra heater, 50-watt Tetra heater, and the EHAM heater I bought for my reef tank, I switched it with the Tetra heater on my reef tank with the one here, just mainly because it was so large on the 5-gallon, and in a 10-gallon it takes up the space much better. So I did that. Now you can see I'm adding a few more rocks after. In the beginning I wanted to make sure that I added the rocks while the tank didn't have the main rocks, while the tank didn't have any sand, just because I know shell dwellers dig and I don't want any of the rocks collapsing on them when they're digging. And so I added some extra rocks after, because just to add to the scape. And I also removed some of the sand because I didn't want a deep sand bed, knowing that the shell dwellers like to make giant piles of sand. And I didn't just want one giant pile in a corner, so I didn't want the sand to be too deep, but I still wanted some sand so it could be natural. I also chose argonite sand that most people use for reef tanks, because it helps buffer the water and make it more hard. I have softened water, so my water is basically at a neutral pH of 7, and I figured that the shell dwellers will enjoy a little higher pH with the argonite sand. Also, the fact that the argonite sand is releasing some calcium, etc. into the water, it allows the snails that I bought to get the calcium from the water that they need from their shells, and it also allows for my shells not to disintegrate in the tank, which happened when I had my baby shell dweller in my 180-gallon tank. The shells that I had in there too disintegrated pretty badly. And after adding some shells, I added my water, refilled it, and then waited for it to settle so you could see what my aquascape looks like. Looking for low light plants and moss-like plants that I could just throw into the grooves of the rocks. It's unlikely that the shell dwellers would move the plants up there, just because of they like to stay near the bottom of the tank. So I'm just looking for some low light plants that you guys would recommend. Right now I have 2 Anubias plants and 1 Java fern. If there's anything else that catches your mind, or anything rockscape with like a few plants growing in between the rocks, let me know in the comments down below. And I'd say that's about it. Well, after all that aquascaping, I had to tear it apart.